Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, it's late afternoon. It is currently 4:43 p.m. on this cold and chilly, it'd be a good night for chilly actually, but cold and chilly November evening, the week of Thanksgiving. Alex is on his way home with little Boo Radley. Little Boo Radley had to go to the vet today for his grooming. I have to see if Alex has picked him up yet. He hasn't sent me a text yet, so, but I don't know if he's on his way home or not. Kind of looks like he is, but anyway, hold on a second. My friend Nikki is texting me about the lineup, the seating chart at Salt Lake City Reunion. So anyway, did you guys miss me yesterday? Did you miss me yesterday? I actually took a day off, can you believe it? Well, I did and I didn't. So I took the entirety of Sunday off, but last night at I think it was like 1:18 when I started the video, I filmed a video for my drama channel today. And the reason that I did it was because, again, it's kind of another like dark topic, and I was just sitting there thinking about it last night. I was like, you know what, just film this video today, have it ready to post for tomorrow, and then you can do fun videos. So I just got done filming. I did a Peterisms video. So my Peterisms channel is changing a little bit. Instead of reading meditations every day, I'm responding to comments that I get in the comment sections of my Peterisms video. So if somebody says, hey Peter, could you talk about step 6 in recovery? Or hey Peter, could you talk about, you know, I don't know, being in denial, or how to get help for treatment or recover, how to get into treatment, or, you know, can you talk about grieving and the tough parts of grieving? Or somebody today asked about being like the last one in a family that's still around, and I thought it was a good topic, so that was what I made the video for today. But I'm having a really good time responding to people asking me questions or sharing stories of their life, and me kind of just responding to it. It's really fun over there. So I did that, and then I did a review video of peppermint pretzels from Trader Joe's, Costco versus Trader Joe's. And then I did a Peter Does Stuff video because I'm getting ready to start decorating for Christmas. I wanted to start decorating probably the day after Halloween, but I put it off every year, right? Like, I actually think this is the earliest. I don't know, somebody will probably go fact check and be like, no, Peter, last year you did it a week before. But I think this is like the earliest that I've gotten, or I've started decorating for Christmas. I usually wait and wait and wait. In fact, one year, we used to put up like a huge Christmas tree and the garland and everything like that. Candles with the, you know, the glass things for the candles. We used to do all of that when Alex and I first got together. And then I can remember, like, we would spend Christmas Eve with his family. I mean, from like early afternoon all the way through like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then Christmas Day we would spend with Caroline, or at that time with my aunt and uncle, and we would be there all day long, right? And so Alex, it was like 2 weeks before Christmas, and Alex, we hadn't put up the Christmas tree yet, and I said something, or he said something about putting up, I think I said, we still need to put up the Christmas tree, and he was like, babe, it's like 2 weeks before Christmas. And I was like, so what's your point? I was like real upset about it. And he was like, I mean, like, what's the point of putting up a Christmas tree? We're not even gonna be here on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And I was like, not put up a Christmas tree? Like, I have been Christmas tree obsessed since I was a little kid, right? Leave it up for months on end and things like that. I just talked about that not too long ago over here. I kind of like lived in the spirit of Christmas. It was like this escape for me when I was a little kid, and I love Christmas decorations and stuff like that. I actually put this up on my, put it up on my Instagram last night. I like, you know, I share, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I share a bunch of stuff that, like this one with Kermit the Frog, and he's saying, why do I put Christmas lights up so early? And then he says, because it makes me happy. But this one, hold on, where is it? Because I loved it, about the only lights in the room are the Christmas tree. Don't you love it when the Christmas tree is the only light in the room? And I loved that so much, right? Because I do. I love to turn off all the lights and have candles lit and have the Christmas tree lit, you know? So every year I say I'm going to do it earlier, and then I never do. And then it's like, you know, the second week of December, and I still haven't put up whatever. So that year, we hadn't put it up. And it was like, you know, we had this huge fake Christmas tree. It's still in our basement and stuff like that. Or did Alex end up donating it? I feel like maybe he donated it to a shelter. Alex's friend Jason that passed away, he was like on the board of several, I think he gave it to Jason for this one shelter. Jason was actually on the board of this fantastic homeless shelter for addiction. So all the people there, it's like a halfway house treatment center, but it's for people that are homeless due to addiction. And Jason, Alex's friend that passed away years ago, in the car accident, he was on the board. So I think we donated, because we donated a bunch of Christmas ornaments to them. We have these like what do you call it, reindeer that lit up that we got like our first couple years together. We ended up giving those to Sarah because I don't really think it looks pretty unless they're still in the ground to have those things in your yard. I think it looks kind of corny just to have it like on brown mulch. I just don't love that. So we ended up giving those to Sarah, and she's put those out, I think, the last 2 years or something like that. So anyway, that year, I don't think we ended up putting up a Christmas tree. And I wasn't devastated, in all honesty. The truth is, I was kind of like, okay, so I don't have to take down a Christmas tree. Because there's two things there's three things about a Christmas tree. One that I love, two that I don't. The one that I love is when everything, the Christmas bedding, the Christmas trees, I now have 2 Christmas trees, one for the bedroom, one for downstairs. When all the Christmas trees are up, when the lights are up and everything looks beautiful, I love that. The two things I don't love about decorating for Christmas are A, the decorating, and B, the cleaning up after the holidays. I don't love that either, right? So, my aunt, Caroline, I was talking about this the other day, she had this guy that for like 15 years, she hired this guy, and he would just come in, put her Christmas tree up, decorate her Christmas tree with all of her ornaments, put all the lights on the trees outside, decorate the entire house and her inside of her house. I mean, it looked gorgeous. And she would pay him, to do this. I mean, it looks so pretty. I can remember being like, and Kathy, your house is, she's like, oh, Josh did it, and whatever. I'm like, oh my God. I needed Josh to come decorate my house for Christmas. But anyway, I don't love to put the stuff up, and I don't love to take it down. I just love it to be there, you know what I mean? I'm sure many of you relate to that. But the following year, I was kind of like really upset that we didn't do a Christmas. I was like, I'm doing a Christmas tree this year. I think this was actually when I was on YouTube, like maybe my first year or something like that. The next year, I was kind of like really, really upset. I was like, I can't believe we didn't put up a Christmas tree and whatever. But at that time, we still had the big Christmas tree in the basement. And with dogs like that, dogs and stuff like that, like I've always kind of wanted to have like a real Christmas tree. Although I'm not really sure how I feel about that now, about cutting down a Christmas tree, even if they're like for farms and stuff like that. I just personally, I mean, you do you, I think it looks cool, like for a family to go in and like cut down a Christmas tree and stuff like that. I just don't know how I personally feel about that. So anyway, but I wanted to put up a Christmas tree, but so Tanya or somebody said to me, well, why don't you just get like a small Christmas tree for beside the fireplace? Okay, so when I was growing up, my mom and my aunt like collected like strays. There was always like somebody at Christmas that would like come in and have Christmas and Thanksgiving, and then they pass away the following year or whatever. It was just real sad. Older ladies that my aunt and my mom knew. It was usually that my aunt knew. So there was this one lady, God, what was her name? I wish Caroline was here right now because she was real mean and she didn't like kids. Which always made for our Thanksgiving and Christmas so delightful because she was the extra guest, So, but then there's other woman, her name was Hazel, and I loved her. I loved Hazel so much. And this was probably when I was like 7 or 8. My mom loved Hazel. Well, Hazel made Afghans like crazy and gave them to people as gifts. So she couldn't, this was like the second year of the Hazel being the guest. She came for Thanksgiving, I think, but she couldn't come for Christmas. And so she was like, well, come over to my apartment and I have like gifts for you and Peter and things like that. And so we go to her apartment, and it was kind of like, this apartment building that she lived in anyway is like in Broderpool, and it's been there forever. And I don't know why, but I just kind of had like, do you ever have this with like a place that you've like driven by forever and it's like been like a part of, there's like sadness associated with this place to me. I don't know why. Like there's not like, I don't have any specific memory. Just like whenever I drive by this building, like, I mean, even when I was a kid and we would drive by the building, it just makes me sad. Like, there's something sad about this building. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a sad place, So that was where she lived, and I didn't know that. So we go up in this sad apartment, and we go into her apartment, and it's like real bright lit. And I remember like right as we walked in, she had like this card table with like this Christmas, you know, what do you call it, tablecloth. And then there was like this real little Christmas tree. Jane was the woman that didn't like us. I remember her first and last name, Jane. She didn't like kids. I think she was a realtor with my aunt. But anyway, she had this real little Christmas tree. It was like, I don't know, like not even 2 feet tall. It was like this real, I feel like it was like pink, like a pink Christmas tree. It's just, I don't know, there was something so sad about it, like this Christmas tree. And then there was somebody else that we went to that was like an older person, and they had like a real little Christmas tree too, just like on a table. And that moment, I was like, for some reason, like it just made me really sad that they didn't have like a full Christmas tree. And so all my life, this is so stupid, but like, I don't know if you guys like associate things like this, but all my life, I always associated this like a little Christmas tree on a table as like sad and getting older. Like, I don't know why, like that older people had these little Christmas trees, and that like, that was just something that you had when you were older. There's just a little Christmas tree. So anyway, that following year, Alex is now gung ho about we ain't putting up no Christmas tree no more, right? Like, after Christmas trees, that's too much work. Whatever. So Tanya and I are at the Meijer one night, and I really wanted a Christmas tree. I may have vlogged this. I don't even remember. Not on this channel, but like just on a vlog that I did on my other channel, or my Peter Monn channel. I used to throw vlogs up over there. So anyway, my drama channel. I don't remember if I did or not, though. But we were looking at all the Christmas decorations and stuff like that. I was like, I really want a Christmas tree, Tony, but I don't want like a big one. Well, there was this Christmas tree, and it was like on this, like they were like, you know, where they were showing Christmas trees on the stand, and it was, I just looked, it's 4 feet tall. Because my video on my Peter Does Stuff channel today is like decorating for Christmas. So anyway, I looked at this Christmas tree. It was like this perfect flocked Christmas tree. I had always wanted to have a flocked Christmas tree anyway. And it was 4 feet tall. It was small, but it was still big enough, right? And I was like, oh, but I don't know how I feel about a small Christmas tree. So I ended up getting this Christmas tree and using the ornaments that we had before, because Alex and I had been collecting these like bird ornaments and felt ornaments and things like that we had bought like throughout the years. For some reason, like, because we, you know, like back then we thought we were going to be moving to like Florida, like Miami right away. And so we were buying all these birds, you know, like tropical birds as ornaments and stuff like that. So we had tons of those ornaments. I still love them today. So I bring this little tree home and I decorate it, and I just fell in love with this little tree. And I even think if it was 2 feet tall, I would still love it. Like, I don't think it matters. Like, my opinion has so greatly changed about that. I don't know what that was about at that time. You know, like, that was also, like, my mom and my dad got in a fight. I had spent, like, the 23rd and the day of the 24th with my dad, and then he took me to my mom's house, and I spent the 24th with my mom. This was, like, the first year they were separated. And then I spent Christmas Day with my mom and all the family. Well, my dad, because they wanted to keep like Christmas for Peter that year, even though they were like separated. My dad came over for Christmas. My mom got like horribly intoxicated drunk and started screaming and yelling at my dad, and so he had to leave. And then the whole thing got like very toxic. I remember my dad's nurse, the woman that was his like his private nurse that worked for him, she ended up coming and picking me up because it was like everybody left. My aunt, my uncle, everybody. I mean, my mom was like screaming at everybody. It was bad. This was one of the incidents that she felt bad about, like, her entire life. The other one was when she actually put a, she would say this, I mean, she was saying here these really exact words that she would use, like, the Christmas that I put you and Grandma in the ditch. Because that was, like, the following Christmas Eve. Was that, because my grandma would always stay with us for Christmas Eve, and she would, like, do the turkey and everything like that for Christmas Day, and we would go to my aunt's house for Christmas Eve. Well, my mom should not have been driving. She was intoxicated. And she couldn't see the road, and she like put us in the ditch, and like, I mean, till like her dying days, like that was literally, I mean, she had made amends for it, talked about it at length with me, felt so bad about it, on and on and on. I mean, until like, I mean, we were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee the Christmas before my mom passed away, and she was, like, still bringing it up. Like, she would still say, like, that Christmas, I just, you know, I mean, we're talking, like, 30 years later, you know, that Christmas that I put you and Grandma in the ditch and whatever, and she had to hitchhike, and this family came and picked us up and then brought us home, and I remember my grandma being, like, saying, have you called AAA? And my mother would be like, she made a drink as soon as we got home, and I can remember, like, standing there in the corner, like, looking into the kitchen. Okay, I had to stop the vlog because I just said something and I don't know if what kind of ears are listening. So anyway, I was like standing in the corner of the kitchen and I was looking in, and you know, my grandma and my mom are like fighting, and I'm like wondering where Santa Claus is. And And that was the year. So, and I've shared that before because I saw my mom, like, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, weaving down the hallway, you know, with presents and things like that. So, is this Alex coming home? Oh my God, Alex is coming home with little Boo Radley. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get off here and go see little Boo Radley and see how he's doing, but I will be back to finish this vlog, okay, in just a little bit, and we will talk more about the Christmas stuff, all right? Okay, I'll be back in just a second. Oh my Lord, he looks so cute, you guys. He is so tired. So, because of his age, we don't take him to like a normal groomer. We take him to a vet, and to get him in to the vet that we usually, so our vet doesn't do groomings, and so to get him in the vet that we usually take him to was like too long of a wait. And so our vet was so sweet, and she was like, hey, like we can just like do a puppy trim and things like that here and stuff like that. So he looks so sweet, you guys. He looks so sweet. So he's not like perfectly groomed like before. I mean, he's like nails trimmed down, everything like that. But he's so tired. And that little, what do you call it? The little hoodie that I got for him. I can't remember where did I get that? Did I get that at? Did I get it at Target or Trader Joe's or? I don't think I got it at Costco, but Alex has him in that little hoodie. It's so cute, you guys. He's so tired. So he had to take his like doggy trazodone last night and then again this morning. And so, so anyway, his face is still kind of full because he like jerks and stuff. Like even if he's like, you know, under the we call it the funny medicine because he gets like real loopy when he takes it at night. But like he still like jerks his face a little bit, so I have a feeling that's why they couldn't like trim it down, you know, really, really closely and things like that. So anyway, but they did a fantastic job, and he's so sleepy, you guys. And so I said to Alex, I said, do you care if I go outside and finish this vlog? And he said, no. He goes, I've got some work to do anyway. He goes, I'm gonna go upstairs to the bedroom and just let him sleep while I'm like working on my computer. And I said, okay, well, I'll finish my vlog. So so I'm so happy that he's home and that he's doing good. And I know tomorrow, if you guys have dogs, you'll know what I'm talking about. But he always, when we first started getting like he and Tucker groomed, he would like hide in his crate sometimes. I think he was kind of embarrassed. Like I said something to Tanya, and Tanya's like, dogs get embarrassed because of haircuts. But the last couple years, like whenever he gets like, because we just, you know, would always have them like puppy trimmed down, like real short and stuff like that. And our vet calls his tail his poof. So then they like really trimmed his poof. Like it's just like one tail. It's just like there's no poof there at all, but it'll grow out fast anyway. But whenever we would get, you know, well, especially Tucker never really seemed to mind to get groomed, but with Boo, when we get him like groomed now, like the last couple years, he seems so happy like the next day. Like he just feels like, oh my God, I feel like free, I can run around and whatever, you know. He feels so good about it. So so yeah, I'm so happy that he got his little haircut and his nails trimmed and everything like that. He'll sleep for the rest of the night because the little guy is so tired. He was just like, I was like holding him, and his little paw, he was like this with his little paws. He was so sweet, and he just kind of looked up at me like, Dad, I'm so tired. But anyway, so yeah, so I can remember my mom and my grandma fighting in the kitchen, and my grandma was like, have you called AAA? And my mom was like, I'll never forget, she was like drinking a drink, and she was like, mother! Like they were screaming back and forth at each other and stuff like that, and it was a bad Christmas. And like called AAA to have like the car towed and stuff like that, which apparently got done. But anyway, then I think that was the Christmas after that. Yeah, and like my mom, like her entire life, she felt so guilty of that, so bad about that whole Christmas Eve, you know. I don't know that she remembered a lot about the Christmas that my dad came, because I would bring it up a couple times, or I would bring it up from time to time, or I brought it up a couple times. She didn't really have a lot to say about it. I don't think she remembered. I remember like everybody left. Like my dad left first. I remember my aunt was like, okay, I think you should leave, and so he left. And then my aunt and uncle and Caroline left. I think they took my grandma. And then it was just me and my mom in the house. I did not know at this time that, I mean, she was like really volatile, like screaming and stuff like that. And my mom was not like a violent drinker or drunk. She was never somebody that like, I mean, never did I ever get hit or anything like that, ever. She get very, like, it was like a mixture of like sadness and anger at the same time, but never directed, you know. But like she was like screaming at my dad, and my aunt was saying some stuff. She was screaming at my aunt, kicking him out, telling him to leave and stuff like that. So everybody left, and it was me and my mom. I did not know at the time that my dad had called, because he didn't want to go back to the house, because he was like, okay, this is just going to get her even more angry. So he had called his nurse. That was like a close friend of the family. I think I just shared on here, like, I found out she passed away like a year and a half ago. But she was like a really big part of my childhood. Like, she was like, you know, took care of me a lot, picked me up from things and stuff like that before my stepmom came into the picture. And so, I mean, she worked with my dad for like 25, 30 years or something like that. She was a huge part of the family. So, I mean, I didn't know that I think my dad finally called and was like, Cindy's coming to pick you up, like, get some stuff, like, packed and things like that. Which is so weird in retrospect, because, I mean, she was, like, married and had, like, you know, a family and stuff like that. So, I mean, she must have been... Isn't it so weird, like, when you remember, like, one thing about somebody? She had snakes. I don't know why I remember this. I think it's just, like, when I heard this, it, like, scared me so much as a little kid. But she had, like, a boa constrictor. And she was, like, in love with this boa constrictor. My dad's nurse. And she came home, and the boa constrictor had, like, gotten out of its, like, glass cage or whatever, and she couldn't find it anywhere in her apartment. This was, like, when she first started working for my dad. And for, like, 3 or 4 days, could not find this snake anywhere, could not find this boa constrictor. I know people are going to be like, Peter, we don't call boa constrictor snakes, whatever we call them. I don't know. I don't want them. I don't like them. I'm not, like, scared of snakes, but I'm not somebody that would, like, put a boa constrictor around my neck. Like, that's not cute to me. But, hey, more power to you. But I'm not a big, like, let's risk fate kind of thing, you know? So, anyway, the snake had been gone for, like, 3 or 4 days. I think it, like, even attacked, like, she had a dog or a cat or something. I feel like it attacked, like, her dog or cat, and, like, the dog or cat had died or something as a result of it. They could not find this boa constrictor. The apartment people came in, looked everywhere, whatever. It was like up in the heating vents. Is that not so scary? Is that not so freaky? I don't know why I always remember that, but she was so cool. She was so nice. And I think my dad called and was like, get a bag packed because, like, Cindy's coming to pick you up and she's going to bring you over to my apartment and stuff like that. So I remember going upstairs and saying something to my mom about leaving to go to my dad's house. And she was, like, sitting on the floor in the bathroom like she was going to throw up in the toilet. And we had these porcelain, maybe this wasn't the same night, but I feel like it was. We had these, like glass, I think they were, like, porcelain toilet seats and toilet bowls and stuff like that. And I remember she just started slamming this, like, toilet. She was, like, so upset. And I remember, like, it split in, like, in half. Like, it was, like, she hit it so hard it split in half. And I'll never forget, she, like, just, like, looked up at me and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But she was, like, so gone, you know? And then I remember I left. So what's weird about that is, and talking about Christmas trees, is that I had just been there, like, the day of Christmas Eve, which was the day before, right? And my dad had this huge Christmas tree. He had, like, bought a live Christmas tree, you know, and everything like that. So I walk into his apartment, which my dad's apartment was always, like, so cozy to me and just, like, always so warm and inviting, and he had it decorated so cool and stuff like that. And so I walk into this apartment, which is interesting because my first apartment was in the exact same apartment complex that my dad's apartment was in, that I grew up until he had his house, or went to until he had his house. And then my dad, even though he lived in a different part of the apartment complex, like when you drive in, I lived to the right, he lived to the left. When my apartment was the exact same layout as his apartment. Is that not so strange? I mean, I wanted it. I wanted to live there, and I loved that apartment of my dad's. And remember he had these big rugs over the carpet, and it had this fireplace, and he had like this drafting table, which I ended up getting the drafting table and putting it in the exact same place that he had in his apartment. I don't know why that apartment meant so much to me, but I remember I was like, I said something to my dad about the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree was gone. It had been like a day, right? Like, my dad is not super sentimental. Like, my dad does not love holidays. Every holiday he calls a Hallmark holiday. Every holiday. He's like, every holiday is a Hallmark holiday. It's just about the, you know, whatever. Every once in a while, he gets like real excited about it. Like a few years ago, God, how many years ago was this now? 6, 7 years ago? Alex's entire family was out of town. His like mom was in Venezuela with his stepdad, and I think Fufu was with them then too, so that would have been, maybe it was longer than that. But anyway, Carlos and Liliana, oh God, it must have been like before everybody was here, but everybody was out of town, and it was just Alex and I. And so my dad had us over for Christmas Day, and my dad like made like this entire Venezuelan Christmas, like what is the, I always mispronounce this stuff, but like the ham de jambon and all this kind of stuff. And he like every Christmas like Venezuelan meal that you would have, like my dad ordered and like made at home, like that you could only get from like specialty restaurants and grocery stores and stuff. And then he had ordered like Alex loves red wine, so he had ordered like a Venezuelan red wine, and he like had like Venezuelan Christmas music, which was totally different than our Christmas music playing and stuff like that. It was like really thoughtful. My dad's like sentimental in like moments like that, but typically he's not, and just does not love holidays. Like, he's not like the Grinch or anything like that. Like, he participates and stuff, and always made my Christmases when I was growing up, like even in junior high and high school, and my stepmom, and we had great Christmases, made Christmas cookies, watched Christmas movies, the whole 9 yards. It was fun, right? But you could tell my dad would always, you know, have to make some like snarky, sarcastic joke about how stupid Christmas was and all this kind of stuff. He'd always say, like, let's put the Christ back into Christmas. He'd always say that, but he'd like say it like belly laughing, like, let's put the Christ back into Christmas, you know. But anyway, so like, he'd hand you a gift and he'd be like, let's put the Christ back into Christmas, you know. Here's a watch or something, you know. But anyway, so I go over to his apartment. I've told this story so many times over here. People are probably like, yeah, Peter, we know the Christmas tree's in the woods. So my dad lived on the 3rd floor, and he had like chucked the Christmas tree, because he lived in the woods, like his apartment backed up into the woods. He had like chucked his Christmas tree off of his balcony, and I like looked down, and there was the Christmas tree in the woods, at the bottom of the woods, with like the lights on it and everything. I mean, he just chucked it off. He was done with it. How did I ever survive? I don't know, with these parents that I had. You know, it's interesting because I can remember when my mom and I were both drinking, like late high school, so 17 to probably 22, 21, because I got sober at 22 right before Christmas. So 17, 18, 19, 20, so those 5 years. You know, I would go to my mom's house. So we stopped having Christmas Day at my mom's house. We switched it because of that night to my mom hosting Christmas Eve, and my aunt having Christmas Day. That way my mom, she could just stay at my aunt's house on Christmas Day night, and she didn't have to drive home on Christmas Eve. This is what you do when you have an alcoholic in the family. You don't really address the drinking, because we had a lot of drinking in our family. You don't really address the drinking. You don't really address that being a problem. You just switch the holidays around, right? Instead of saying like, hey, maybe we need to get some help, like this is the problem, which I think my mom was fully aware of by that point anyway, because she was talking in therapy a lot about it and stuff like that. So, one of the things, so like my aunt and my uncle, they would actually leave pretty early. They didn't stay. I mean, it was like at that point, my grandma was gone. So it was my mom and I, my aunt and my uncle, and my cousin. Christmas Day was when we would have the guest, you know, like Hazel or Jane or whatever. We'd have like the guest of honor. That was some old lady that didn't have no family and stuff like that, which was nice, but, you know, so that was when that happened. But, I mean, we're talking small family, you know, my mom and myself, Caroline and my aunt and uncle. You know, this is before, every once in a while, I mean, every once in a while, my cousin had a boyfriend constantly through high school. But they had their families and stuff like that. I feel like Caroline sometimes left to go do stuff with their families as well. So then it ended up just being like my aunt, my uncle, my mom, and I. But Christmases were always very elegant for us growing up. Like both fireplaces in my house, like had full fireplaces, candles on the dining room table, hors d'oeuvre hour, cocktail hour. You dressed up for Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve was always like beef tenderloin. Very nice sit down dinner. And then Christmas Day was like, maybe like Christmas Eve was always very magical, and I mean it sounds horrible, right, like all these stories I've told, but it was very magical. There were a lot of good Christmas Eves, but Christmas Day would be like maybe not dressed up that much, but maybe like wear a new sweater that you got for Christmas Day with a pair of khakis, but still pretty dressy. Our family was, not until like now, like I feel like when we go over, Alex's family always kind of like dresses up a little bit on Christmas Eve. The Christmas Eve's when they do the whole thing. Christmas Day now, and like Thanksgiving, Caroline always dresses nice. Her husband will probably wear like khakis and a button-down collared shirt. Her son David will probably wear the same thing. Her stepson might wear like, he and his wife will probably wear like jeans and like a nice sweater or a nice shirt. I'll probably wear like jeans and a nice sweater or a nice shirt or something like that. Alex will probably wear khakis, and he always dresses up for stuff. But back then, we would still get dressed up for like Christmas and stuff like that, So anyway, but one of the things that my mom and I would do for Christmas Eve is that after everybody left, my mom always loved to watch the midnight mass at the Vatican. And so, but they would show it later. They would show it like at midnight here, And so we would, after everybody left, we would go on a walk. This is when, Christmases were pretty wintry outside. There was ice and there was snow and stuff like that. So we would go, bundle up in coats and whatever, and we would take a walk down the street. Well, my mom was pretty intoxicated by that point. And I had snuck my fair share of drinks too, And so here we are. I can see us like slipping and sliding down. I mean, it's kind of comical in retrospect knowing that we both got sober, but I mean, it's really kind of sad too, that here we are like slipping and sliding down the road, Where am I at on time? I have absolutely no idea, but I do know that it's starting to get kind of dark. So there we would be slipping and sliding, down the road. And I can remember one year, my mom she started falling or something. Whenever I would get worried or fearful, that sometimes would turn into like anger with me a little bit. I would get mad then that she didn't control her drinking enough. Then I get angry at the situation. And I was just like, we're turning around, we're going back. And she's sliding and falling and all this kind of stuff on the ice. And she's like, I don't know what's wrong. And I'm like, you're drunk is what's wrong, okay? You're drunk and you can't stand up and you can't walk. I mean, this is the conversation we're having on the street on Christmas Eve, right? At 10 o'clock at night or 10:30. So I remember we go back, and I'm probably confusing two different years, but I feel like this is the same year. Get her upstairs. She's in her chair, of course, with a glass of wine and smoking a cigarette. And she's has this chair in this ottoman, which is in our basement now. She's chair in this ottoman in her bedroom that she always had this little table, and she had this little TV in her bedroom, and it's where she would watch everything. And I think she had passed out or something, but the midnight mass was on, so I could hear it, down in the kitchen. And I'm cleaning up. I'm cleaning the dining room table, and it's everybody has, leftover wine glasses, and there's half a drink bottle of wine, and my aunt was a Dewar's on Ice drinker. My aunt drank scotch. And so I'm literally drinking all these extra drinks. I got tanked. Kind of if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. I was so mad. And I was so upset. I can remember thinking that year, I've dealt with this for so long. I have dealt with, and it wasn't just my mom, it was a lot of people in our family, I'm I dealt with this for so long. I'm just so, screw it. If you can't beat them, join them. And I remember standing there in the kitchen cleaning these dishes, by hand, because they were special set of dishes that my mom used to use for Christmases. And I was cleaning these dishes by hand, and I'm sitting there drinking the leftover scotch and soda that my aunt had 3 hours before, drinking half a glass of wine that somebody had, drinking this, drinking that. I just stood there doing these dishes, listening to the midnight mass that was coming from the TV upstairs, and just got tanked. What's crazy about that is I got sober December 17th, 1994, but I was in treatment over Christmas, which I'll share that story on here because I love to share that story of that holiday season in treatment. No, I really do. Like, it felt very safe and it felt very Christmassy and cozy. Like, I always think about that, you know, in retrospect. My mom got sober June 2nd. So the first Christmas with us together would have been Christmas of 1995. Together sober would have been Christmas of 1995. I had just started dating somebody 2 months before, but he was already like part of the family and went to stuff. And but he was spending, he had like an older brother, and then he had like, he called them the littles. So his mom and his dad had like, okay, his older brother and him, and then there were 6 of them together with his mom and dad, but they were divorced. His mom had gotten remarried, and I think there was like 8 total or something like that. So he wanted, because he would call them the littles, and he'd say, I want to go spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with the littles. I think he ended up coming over to my mom's house, or my aunt's house on Christmas, because then of course we switched it back. And so on Christmas Day or something like that. When my mom moved into the condo, we stopped doing holidays because it's so small. So I feel like then my aunt did both, or Caroline did one and my aunt did the other. I can't remember how it went. But anyway, my mom stopped hosting because it was too small. And Mike was there then because we were, you know, they were married, and then Caroline had David. And so, it would have been that January or the following January that David was born. So anyway, but I remember that. So my ex, my first ex, he would always spend Christmas Eve with his family. And then like Christmas Day, like around 4 or 5, he would show up at my aunt's house. And I can remember my mom and I, we would come back here after we got sober, or like, you know, Christmases after we got sober. I'd go and stay back in my apartment and sleep for the night, but I would come back over here and we would make a cup of coffee, talk about the evening, you know, put all the leftovers away, and my mom would make like a pot of coffee and we would watch the midnight mass. And then I can remember like that year, the first year, my mom was like, do you want to take a walk? And it was like real snowy that year. And I was like, yeah, sure. And so we bundled all up. And I'll never forget, we took a walk all through the neighborhood. And it was our first sober Christmas walk, you know, ever. And we did that like every Christmas Eve. Whether we were here, whether we were in Gatlinburg, no matter where we were, we always took a walk on Christmas Eve, my mom and I, you know. And I think back about like, those are like the small things, the gifts that you get with recovery that you don't really think about, you know, that for years my mom was falling down the street and I would get so angry, and it just was such a mess, and just gave me such negative memories of Christmas and things like that. And then, like, you know, the last 12 Christmases of my mom's life, you know, we would always take a walk on Christmas Eve. It was amazing, you know. Blessings that come with sobriety. The blessings that come with sobriety. So I'm really excited about this week, about Thanksgiving. I'm really excited about seeing Alex's family, and well, his mom's out of town still, but so she won't be there for Thanksgiving, but she'll be there for Christmas. We'll do probably Christmas Eve at his aunt's, I'm just assuming, at his aunt's house, and his mom will be there and everything like that. And then Christmas Day will be at my cousin's house. His aunt and uncle and stuff won't come over for all that. Caroline does her own thing with her family for Christmas Eve, like her just small family. Like her husband and son and his girlfriend, like it'll just be like the 4 of them for Christmas Eve. And I don't know why that got me so emotional. It's probably like one of my favorite memories of my mom and I, like holding hands walking down the street on Christmas, you know, after watching the midnight mass, and we would, you know, sing Christmas carols and stuff like that, and just like walk through the snow, and it just felt magical, you know. So and then Alex's mom, I don't know if his cousin's coming home for Christmas or not. Well, oh, Fufu and Jesse will be here, or hopefully this year they'll be here, but they'll do Christmas Eve. So I mean, Caroline's always like the more the merrier, invite whoever you want. So it just depends on like who's around and what they're doing on Christmas Day. So some of them will probably come over to Caroline's on Christmas Day and stuff like that. So yeah, but this week I'm real excited. Get my hair cut on Wednesday. Caroline's picking me up from my hair cut. my stylist, and then Caroline and I are running some errands on Wednesday. And so yeah, and then Thursday is Thanksgiving. Like I said, we're going over to Alex's aunt. I think we have to be over there at like 11 a.m. And then we have to be over at Caroline's at like 4. So it's going to be a long day. So I definitely won't be filming videos on any of my channels on Thanksgiving unless I pre-film them, just so you know. I don't plan on filming a vlog. I don't plan on doing anything on Thursday. And I have to be honest with you, my filming for this week may be rather sparse until this weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll probably film those days. But leading up to that, and I think, like, I didn't realize this until I took off yesterday, so we'll talk about that in a second, but it's really good for me to, like, relax, and I'm seeing everybody being like, all these, you know, people online being like, at my family's house, took the whole week off, you know, back home in Indiana, came from California. All these people that I know are, like, off for the entire week and whatever, and I'm like, you know what, like, I'm gonna still film this week. I'll most likely vlog every day except for Thanksgiving, but I may take another day off. I may take like Wednesday or Friday off, just depends. Alex is now thinking about maybe wanting to do some Black Friday shopping, so if we end up going Black Friday shopping, I won't film. I'm not going to be like when I plan my days, if like we're doing brunch or we're gonna do this, or people ask me to do that, I'm always like, okay, well, I gotta figure out, like, I'm gonna film from this to this time and whatever. If we get up on Friday and Alex is like, do you want to go to brunch and then go do some Black Friday shopping, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, let's go, and I won't film, right? And I don't know about Wednesday yet. It's just gonna depend on how long Caroline and I are gone and what time I get home and things like that. And we could get home at 3 o'clock and I'd be totally fine to film on all my channels, I hope, since I'm taking Thursday off. Yesterday was so good for me to take the whole day off. So let me just tell you, we went to brunch yesterday, woke up late, stayed up late the night before watching shows. And so yesterday, we went to brunch. Oh my God, I had such a great brunch. I'm doing really good at not, like, stopping eating when I'm not hungry anymore. So I got my omelet that I usually get, got coffee. They didn't have flavored coffee yesterday, so I just got the Patachu blend. Our server that works there, that's a good friend of ours, she and her husband work for, like, clothing and coats for homeless people and stuff like that here in Indianapolis, and these different organizations. And so I had talked to her about cleaning up my closet in the basement, and she was like, do you have like this stuff? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, we'll take any donations you want, even if it's like 30 bags. So we took like 4 or 6 bags to her on Sunday, and then the rest of them that are in the basement we're gonna take whenever I see her next. So so she's like taking all that stuff for donation, which is fantastic. I mean, I have some like unbelievable, I was like, coats, shoes, she's like, all of it, we'll take all of it. She's like, they really need like coats and shoes, especially for the winter, and sweaters. And I was like, she's like, is this stuff in good condition? I was like, it's in perfect condition. So socks, bunch of stuff I get. Well, yeah. So, but I have like 10 coats that I have in there too, and she was like so excited about that. So took all that stuff to her. We had brunch yesterday, it was so nice, and then we came home, and Alex like got into bed and was like looking at TikToks, and he was like laying down and stuff like that, and I was like, I laid down for a second, and I was like almost about to fall asleep, and then I was like, I'm not really that tired though, like I could fall asleep, but I'm not really, I'm like just taking a nap just to take a nap. And I said, what are you going to do? And he was like, you're looking at it. Like, I'm going to, like, nap, and I'm going to, like, look at TikTok and play my game. Like, this is it. I'm relaxing in bed all day long. And I was like, so you don't care if I go down and listen to an audiobook? And he was like, no, not at all. So I came down here. That was probably at 4, maybe a little bit before that. And I made a cup of coffee, toasted graham with the toasted marshmallow syrup, of which I'm down to, like, no squirts. I have to order some more of that. I also need to order some batteries from Amazon, so I'm going to do that tonight. And I made this cup of coffee and sat out here, and, I mean, I probably had 4 cups of coffee. Well, last night I probably had, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I drank the coffee. The coffee was flowing. I probably had 8 cups of coffee last night over the period of about 10 hours. And I sat here, and I had started Kitty Genevieve's, which was the October book for True Crime Book Club, but I hadn't gotten that far into it, like maybe like 10, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, so I sat down here. I mean, I listened to it at like 2 times 5 speed, which is, I usually listen to books between 2 and 2.5 speed. But I sat down here and listened, like, in 3 hours, finished the book. Just like, boomed it out. I went upstairs and I was like, I just finished an audiobook like in one day. And Alex is like, really? He's like half asleep. And I was like, do you care if I go listen to another one? And he was like, no, not at all. So then I sat out here, made another cup of coffee, and I started listening to The Girl in the Leaves, which was a September book for a true crime book club. And 3 hours later, I was done with that book. I was like, I cannot believe I finished both books for True Crime Book Club in one day. Okay, I loved Kitty Genovese. Kitty Genovese is a really important story. Like, that's a story. It's true crime, but it's so much more than that. It's so sociological. It has a lot to do with diversity and racism. It has a lot to do with who are we in society when we witness crime and things like that, and what's our participation. So she was the woman that was killed in New York City. I think it was like in 1963 or 1964, and 38 people witnessed it. It's not really like that, though. It's like somebody heard it from... It stopped. But somebody looked out a window. It wasn't really like 38 people were standing around. That's what I thought it was like. But somebody looked out a window, somebody looked out a door, somebody was shouting. You know, but it was like, in the end, it's like the police came up with the number 38. It was really good. A lot of history, though. A lot of history that had nothing to do with her, about like the boroughs of New York City and just current events that were happening and stuff like that. So, but it was an important book to listen to. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The second book that I read, The Girl in the Leaves, I didn't know anything about this case. The cover was cheesy. I picked it. Did I pick it? I think I suggested it to Mel. I can't remember, but I was not excited about reading it. This book was so intense. It was about this guy that kills this woman and her son and her best friend, but he keeps the young daughter that's 13 alive, and he keeps trying to... And it's the police trying to figure out... It is so good. It's a true story, too. The Girl in the Leaves. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. Finished that in 3 hours, turned around, and then I started the Saturday Ghost Club, which I want to finish either tonight or tomorrow, so that I can get into the Christmas Cozy Mysteries by Wednesday. And then it's Christmas Cozy Mystery Central. I'm going to read God Rest Ye, Murdered Gentleman, which is the first book in the Vicki Delaney series, the Christmas series. It's 6 books in it. That's the second book for Peter's Book Club this month. So I am caught up and very, very excited about it. And after I finish the Saturday Night Ghost Club, which I didn't like at first, but now that I'm like a half an hour, 45, maybe a half an hour into it, I'm really liking it. It's short. It's 5.5 hours, and me listening to it at 2 times speed is like, I think I have less than 2 hours left to listen to it, so I'll probably listen to it tonight. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then it's Christmas Cozy Mystery Central, and then I'm going to have the decorations up, and everything's going to be great. So I did that, and then I didn't realize I had another episode of RuPaul's Drag Race UK to watch, so I caught up on that one. It was the makeover one. It was so good. It was so sweet. And then I watched an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under, and then I didn't know that RuPaul's Drag Race Canada started this week, so I watched the first episode of that. Really good. This season's going to be really good. Then I was like, should I lay down? Should I go to bed early? No, let's just keep it going. I can't remember. I watched something else. And then I started... What did I watch? I didn't watch The Guardian last night. I saved it for tonight. I can't remember what I watched, but I got caught up on something else. And then I was like, okay, Caroline wanted me to watch this documentary called Twin Flames on Netflix, which is about this, like, alleged religious cult. So I started watching. It's 3 episodes. I got on the second one last night. You guys, it is bonkers. It is crazy. And it's really, really good. It's really not good like they're good people, because they're nuts, but it's really interesting. So I started watching that last night. I watched 2 episodes, and I got so tired that I was like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. So I did. But I'm back. Did you miss me? Oh, this is what I was going to say. Like, taking a day off, like, it was so good for me. I was so relaxed. I loved just sitting out here listening to the audiobooks. And then I had a little couple snacks here, a couple snacks there. I just had such a great night. And so I can't believe it is this dark. And it is, I mean, it is 5:35, you guys. I know it doesn't seem that dark to you. When I turn this, it won't seem that dark. But it is, like, dark. The lights, I know it doesn't look like it at all, but it's, like, dark, you guys. It never shows up on camera that well. But anyway... Is somebody technological? Does somebody know why it doesn't show up on camera that way? But anyway, I think the hard thing for me is, like, and this is why I always joke and I say I was going to take today off, but I forget this until I do take a day off. It's always hard for me to come back, because the next day I'm like, or I could take another day off, listen to 2 books, watch 10 shows, and just eat a bunch of junk food. You know what I mean? Like, so it's always hard for me to come back the day after I take a day off, which is why I'm like, you guys... I might just film a little bit here and a little bit there this week. So I don't know. We'll just see. It's going to play it by ear. Somebody in my vlog was like, I don't know why you have to announce when you're not going to film for a day and stuff like that. And I don't know if it was meant to be rude, but it read rude, just so you know. But I feel like people are so kind as to watch my vlog every single day and have for 7 years. You know, all the nonsense and the storytelling and the crying and the laughing that I've done over here for 7 years. So many of you guys have been so kind to do that, that I think the least that I can do is let you guys know if I'm not going to film for a day. You know, that's why I do it. So, but yeah. And because it's like a real struggle for me and trying to figure out if I'm going to take a day off or not, you know, but I'm not going to take tomorrow off. Tomorrow I'm going to vlog. The vlogs this week might be a little bit shorter, unless I just have a lot of time. I don't know. I haven't talked to Tanya yet, so I don't know if we're going to a meeting tomorrow night or not. Oh, I don't think we are, because there's like several gratitude dinners around town in Indianapolis on Wednesday, like gratitude meetings. They have like a speaker. I think she and her sponsor are going to one of them. And so, she asked me if I wanted to go, but tickets are sold out now, so I don't, and I don't want to do that the Wednesday night. Do you know what's so funny is I was asking Alex, I said, are you going out Wednesday night? He was like, no. But back in the day, like, do you know the biggest night a year to go out to clubs and bars is the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, because everybody's in town and stuff like that? When we first started dating, that was like our favorite night of the year to go out. It was so funny because I said to him, I go, are you going out on Wednesday night? He was like, no. That's when you know your husband is grown up. Anyway, okay, you guys, listen, I'm gonna get off here now. I'm so happy to be back. I missed you guys, but I had a fantastic day off, so thank you for understanding. And I love that somebody said on here, I'm sad that you're not filming today selfishly, but I'm gonna go catch up on one of your old vlogs. I love that. That meant so much to me. So anyway, I love you guys, and I'm gonna do a real short outro tonight. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope that you're having a magically amazing Monday and a fantastic beginning to your week. And you can see it's getting dark and I'm fading into the shadows. So only the shadow knows. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you.